Smash! Do 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 do. Stone Cold, Stone Cold, Stone Cold, Steve Austin, Stone Cold, Stone Cold, Stone Cold, Steve Austin, Steve Austin, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Stone Cold Steve Austin. That's the official lyrics to the Stone Cold Steve Austin song by Stone Cold Steve Austin, featuring Stone Cold Steve Austin. Hello everybody, I'm Ewan from the Ewan Podcast Network. Don't touch the Ewan, you'll get Ewan on you. I've already cleaned this Ewan and now you got Ewan everywhere. How dare you? Get out of my house. Leave now and never return, you pig-faced bastard. I hate you. I never liked you. I wish you were aborted. Of course, that's getting harder and harder to do now, isn't it? God, imagine that. Imagine trying to get an abortion in this day and age. Heaven forbid. Heaven forfend. That's a thing. That's a way to say that phrase. If you want to sound like an arsehole who actually knows things. That's the problem, isn't it? If you actually know things and you try to act like you know things, you come off like an arsehole. But that's the problem, isn't it? If I try to act like I know shit, I might seem like an arsehole. But if I just implement the shit I know in a natural way, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Hi, gang! Touch my testicles. For medical purposes. Could that be a medical thing? For medical reasons, I need as many people to touch my testicles as possible. Please, just touch them. I need it. It's necessary for medical purposes. And then you touch them and they squeak like a squeaky toy. Oh, was that quite a good squeaky noise? I know the voice in my head, one of them, my voice that comes out of my mouth, and I assume this is the case for everybody. I have a pretty good idea of how it sounds because, there's hundreds of hours of recordings of me, some of which I watch and listen to. So I do have some kind of idea of how the fuck I sound. But largely, it's this you hear the sound differently because you hear it in your head because it vibrates in your head in a different way to how it vibrates out of your head, which just makes sense, isn't it? It's not even like science or whatever. I mean, it probably is technically science, but it's not even. I'm not talking in science. I'm just saying that's just how it appears to be. So when I make a noise like that squeaky horn noise I just tried to make, in my head, that sounded pretty good. Now, I might play this back and realise, no, that was shit. It just sounded like you going, ha he. I was trying to, do like a ha he, ha he, ha he. No, it's just getting worse and worse. I should stop. You drawing a triceratops, Ewan? Why, yes, I bloody am. Funny you should ask. Well, it's not that funny. It just is what it is. You asked. You didn't ask. I'm talking to myself. Nothing happened. Nothing's happening ever. Nothing ever happens. Time isn't real. The world barely exists. Yet we ruin it anyway. Don't be so pessimistic, Ewan. You cynical shit. I was going to sing Don't Worry, Be Happy, but I won't. That'd be weird. Oh, I almost actually went into singing it then. I won't. Don't worry. I won't. I'm not gonna. I know I won't. Don't. See, because you think I'm going to do the thing where I say, don't worry, I won't do the thing, and then I do the thing. I'm not going to do that because I'm not going to sing Don't Worry, Be Happy. You know, the one that the plastic fish on the thing, and you press the button and it goes, you know, and sings that song, Don't Be, and then the song. But I'm not going to sing that, so don't worry. Because it's not going to... Speaking of music, one time I did a bunch of banners for a band. I painted some banners for this band. I guess they were probably like a metal, slightly screamo, but not quite. No, they weren't screamo. They're like a metal band. They were robots. They were all made of metal. Hello, I am band member X23Z. I play the drums. I am Singer Droid. I sing the songs. My name is Singer Droid. Sing a song. Sing along with my song that I sung. Sing song, sing song, sing a droid song. That's my metal band. Because I got to write this one down. Where's my post-it notes? Where are they? Oh, look how I had a stack like that, and I come up with so many ideas that I use up all these notes. Also, I use them as like thank you notes for shit. Metal band. They are robots. So it's when I was living at home after university, sometime after university. I was doing a lot of like art locally. I was working with youth groups and doing youth workshops and council funded art projects and just, you know, running around being a little art person. You know, one of them art persons that you get around, that go around a place doing art things. And then someone knew someone who knew someone, and they said, hey, I got a band, can you paint us some banners for... They had like an EP release, which stands for Electric Piss, because they're a metal band comprised of robots. So an EP release is the release of Electric Piss, and they all stand on stage going bzzzt, 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 pissing electronically at the audience that are there to watch them release their electric piss at their EP release, because they're a metal band made up of robots. They wanted to have some banners to hang, you know, at the release of their electric piss, and I said, okay then. And I painted some banners. I got some big fabric. I fucking painted it up and spray painted all these. So some of them are really cool. The band's name was Neverify, which is a bit of a weird one. Neverify. So I sort of did some cool like text, some like graffiti style text, and like skulls and fucking like hands coming out of ooze and shit. 3 or 4 banners. And then delivered them, and then you know, they said, you know, come along to the release, to the EP, which stands for and so fucking whatever, and then I did, and I went to the release. However, where was it? It was somewhere I don't really go. It wasn't Bath. It wasn't Basingstoke. It might have been Basingstoke. It might have been near Basingstoke. I have been there since for a work thing, but I can't remember exactly where it was. It was somewhere shit. Anyway, I got lost on the way there because I couldn't find the fucking place. I didn't have a smartphone. This is what I used to do back in the day, was I'd go on Google Maps and I'd like find the place and then find the train station and then hand draw a little map with the main roads and a couple of side roads noted down so I could sort of find my way there. It worked maybe 1 out of 10 times that I did it, and I did it like 50 times. So I lost I got lost on the way to this place. It was in some like pub in the fucking miles away from the train station, and I couldn't afford a taxi or anything back in these days. So I was just like, well, I'll get there. I'll get the train there early, and I'll walk, and I'll be fine. Which I did for the most part, but I got lost, and then I had to like backtrack because I took the wrong turn, and eventually I got there like just as they were doing their encore. So they'd sung all the songs from their EP, and they were doing an encore, and I arrived for that. I couldn't even get into like the little basement room area that they were performing in. But I heard them singing their songs, and they gave me a copy of the EP, and it was like a basement, a pub basement that was sort of decorated somewhat, but not majorly. Had some carpets and stuff down, and they had my banners on the walls hanging up. It was quite cool. And then I was hanging out for a little bit afterwards, talking to some people, and I was looking at the banners, and a guy came up to me and he was like, "Oh, these banners are really cool, aren't they?" And I was like, "Yeah, they actually are." And he was like, "Oh yeah, they obviously like got some. I don't know if it's a member of the band or whatever. They got some artist or something to paint them." And then I was like, "Funnily enough, I'm the guy that painted them." And he was like, "Oh, that's cool." And then he went away. So that was basically that. Where are you going with all of it? This is all to tell a story. That's not. It's apropos of nothing. It's not related to anything I am and or have been talking about. It is what it is. It's a story. It's a funny one, and I'm getting to the main bit of it. So shut up. I'm getting there. So painted some banners. Delivered them to the people. They said come to the EP release. Went to the EP release. Got lost. Got there late. Just in time to hear the very, very last song. I almost threw up a little bit. Hung out for a little bit. And then everyone started leaving. And I was like, oh, I guess I'll fucking go. Get back to the train station. By like a minute and a half, I'd missed the last train home. It was such a fuck. And this was like, I was in a weird place mentally. I didn't know what I was doing in general, like in life at that point. I was all over the place. I didn't know. I'm looking for the picture of the dinosaur that I drew so I can draw the dinosaur. I can't find it. I might have to just make it up as I go. Shit. God damn it. This is really good, and really professional. This is what people tune in for. All the parts where... Oh, there it is. Yeah, I was in an odd place, and I figured, well, I don't... At the time, I don't really know anyone with a car. Can't afford a taxi. There's really very little to be done other than wait around the station for the night until the first train in the morning. So it was about 11 at night that I was there, and the first train was around 6. So I was like, 7 hours. I guess that's not that long. I had a book in my bag, so I had a bag with like a jumper and some water and stuff, and a book that I was reading on the train on the way up. Because I used to read. That was back when I was reading and shit. So I started reading, but then I got bored. And so I started just for something to do to keep myself up and whatever. Because I didn't want to fall asleep. Because I didn't know, like, if I'd get fucking mugged or whatever. So I tried to stay awake the entire time. So I took a few laps of, like, just walking around the train station, which was, walk a couple roads this way and then over a bridge and then a couple roads that way and then back. And I did that a few times. I walked along one road and then back again, just for something to do, whatever. And this isn't even part of the main bit of the story I really was going to tell. So it gets to around 5 o'clock, and then they opened up the train station again, ready for like morning commuters to come in and ready for their first train to work and whatever else. So I go and sit inside the station. It was a little bit warmer, at least. It was almost freezing out. while I was outside of the station literally all night, just killing fucking 7 hours. Well, I guess 6 until they opened the station. So I go inside the station, it's whatever, I'm sitting there chilling, just waiting, figure, in general, I'm a very patient person, and if I've got to sit and wait for a thing, sometimes I prefer not to, but if that's all I can do, then it is what it is. So be it, I'll fucking sit and wait. So I sit and wait for an hour for the fucking train. And at some point, while I'm sitting waiting for the train, I assume an unhoused person is going around asking people for change and such. Although specifically, she was asking for cigarettes. She was asking if people had cigarettes. So, I was a little bit like, oh God, she's walking this way. I can't be fucked to get up because then it's going to look like I'm getting up because of her. Which, is my right to do. There's no problem with that, really. But I stayed sat where I was. She came over and she asked for, and this is the point of the story. She asked for a cigarette, and I said, no, I don't have any cigarettes. And she got really fucking angry. She got like indignant, like proper angry. What the fuck does indignant mean? I don't know what that word means. Indignant. Feeling or showing anger or annoyance at what is perceived as unfair treatment. Yeah, I guess she was pretty indignant. And then she accused me of lying. She was like, "You're lying. Just give me a fucking cigarette. I know you've got some. Give me a fucking cigarette." She was like aggressively angry. And then all I could do was say, I don't smoke. And she goes, "Ugh," and she like storms off. And I went, well, she was about to storm off. And I went, "Sorry, I don't smoke." Or I don't smoke, sorry. I said sorry. And then she turns around and she leans like really close to my face and goes, "Well, start then!" And then storms off. And all I could think after that was that she kind of has a point. Like, she was a bit bothersome, but ultimately she's got a point. She was asking for cigarettes. And I said, no, I don't have any, which I didn't. I then said sorry. To which she replied, "Well, start then." She very aggressively replied, but she replied, "Well, start." Which is it's a very good point, because if I truly was sorry, I'd want to and would try to remedy the situation as best I can. And in that situation, the best remedy would be for me to start smoking so I have cigarettes. So that I guess next time the issue arises, I'll have cigarettes that I can share with people. And that's been on my mind, like, well, not constantly since then, but it floats in and out of my mind every now and again, and has done since it occurred. Just that, how angry she was, that fucking, "Well, start then!" So like, oh, fuck. That stuck with me, man. Some trauma shit right there. I don't know, I was like 21 or something, just some dumb little fucking head. But yeah, she made a point. I should smoke. I should start smoking to prove that I'm sorry, to actually do something. Because, I can say sorry. Everyone can say sorry for everything, but if you really mean it, you'll do something about it. And in this case, fucking smoke. Speaking of totally unrelated topics, Bad Boy by Frank Miller and Simon Bisley. A bunch of my art friends were at Heroes Con this past weekend, and Simon Bisley was there, and a bunch of them got photos with Simon Bisley, and they got shit signed by Simon Bisley, and I'm a little bit envious of that. It would have been nice, but it's in fucking America and whatever. I'm not going to. This is a funny one. I know I've looked at this before, maybe a long, long time ago now, but I think it's funny to look at it because it's not great. Like, especially for being Frank Miller and Simon Bisley together. That was quite cool. No, it wasn't. It was fucking lame, idiot. It should be something so fucking cool. Like, you should be so hyped for Frank Miller and Simon Bisley working together. But the result is ungreat. Does it have a 2008? Surely it wasn't that late. Let me Google Bisley Bad Boy. 1999. I guess this edition was later. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. It just... See, because I got this because it's Bisley, but also similarly to Body Count, because I spent so much time looking at Simon Bisley's paintings that I really wanted to see how he inked a comic. And so Body Count and this, I figured, were examples of that. Which you do get. And yeah, Lobo is a good example of that, obviously, as well. Which I think I actually found his Lobo work and ABC Warriors a lot later on, which is weird considering that's earlier work. I think, I don't know the timelines, whatever. I'm not going to talk about the story because I don't fucking care and it's dumb. It doesn't make any sense. Well, I mean, it makes sense. It's just, I remember reading this and being really uninterested for the story. I just didn't fucking care. It didn't pull me in. I didn't give a shit about the boy, the characters, the events, whatever. And the art is like, there's moments that are kind of cool. So I guess this is the kid being punched in the head. It doesn't look like he's being punched in the head. You can add in the lame sound effects as much as you want, but it just looks like someone shaking his fist at him and him like crying, going, "No, don't." There should be like a swoosh or a pop effect or like some impact drawing or something. I don't know. But the main thing is, I think the colouring just doesn't do anything for this comic. It's like the weird sort of airbrush look to try to make things look 3D, but it looks like some stuff I'd seen at university of like art students trying to do like comic book colouring, and they try to do like anime drawings and they have this horrible Photoshop airbrush effect and it just looks so bad. And because it's on this glossy paper as well, this edition at least, like Lobo has the benefit of, one, that's still back in the day when Bisley was really putting the effort in and you could see it on the page. But also because it's printed on that like shitty newsprint that has texture and tone to it. So if you've got panels with not much going on, like stuff like this, with, you know, fairly flat colour and then the black and white inking, it's still got some like texture and life to it from the printed page itself. Whereas this, on this glossy printing, it really loses that. Plus the airbrush look, plus it really feels like Bisley wasn't really trying. Which is such a shame, because again, he's working with Frank Miller, like arguably one of the greatest comic book writers ever. One of, not the best. But it just doesn't feel like how it should. And I don't know how much of his drawings are down to Frank Miller's direction. The storytelling's sort of good enough, I guess, but it's just the best parts are when you get stuff like this, like these fucking weird evil robot Nazi undead guys, Um, but that's just because, you know, that's Simon Bisley doing Simon Bisley. Like drawing very typically Simon Bisley sort of stuff. And this is quite a cool shot, but fairly random, almost with no context to it. It's just the cat, but he looks kind of cool. It just feels like it's lacking something, some kind of texture, or I think a lot of that is down to it being printed on this like glossy paper. And the colouring, like I don't. So these pop up, like there's one of these in this comic. There's one of these pages in Body Count. They're all over the place. Like in almost every comic he does, he puts in a full body shot almost of a big titted woman being fucking cool and badass or whatever. You know, like the FAC 2 cover, the girl I painted by a gun Viking recently. So that's well and good, and this is quite a good drawing. You know, the body is really well drawn. It's a well done piece. The bionic arm, not Bisley's best, but it's kind of cool. It works. The color choice sucks. The browns and greens and like it's so bleh. It just doesn't look appealing. But also, what the fuck is going on with? Like, is she naked apart from like paint on her body? Has she not got any underwear on at all? But then there's like here it looks like creases, so it looks like she should be wearing a costume, a suit of some kind that should be like coloured. And then there was these green lines just go into her body and then just end. I don't like this. Do I have any tracing paper? Yeah, right. I feel like how can I do this? This should be this here, this cleavage should be skin, and then this should be clothing, and this should be clothing, and then all of this should be coloured in with like these patterns on the clothing, but it should be skin tight with like, so it should all be clothing apart from her head and this cleavage window here, but they've coloured it and made it look like she's naked apart from, and her nipples don't have colour, so it's like it can't be skin because it's so aggravating. It's just, and it's a full page splash panel that should be like pow, and it just looks like garbage because I don't know what. And maybe the colorist didn't have any notes or didn't ask or didn't think to ask, just did whatever. But like, it's so whack. And you shouldn't be saying that looking through a Simon Bisley comic. You should be thinking, hey, this is cool. And they continue it on, I guess. I didn't realise she was in more panels. I guess it makes sense she's in the comic, but and I'm down for Bisley's like imitation almost fabric creases where he's clearly not actually drawing real creases but just enough squiggles and implying enough that you kind of get it. But in this comic it feels like that's ramped up a little bit, where it's just like, come on, put in just a little bit more effort. Again, I don't know if she's supposed to be naked or not. I have no idea what's going on. These guys, like I say, they look cool, but like they should, and they're going to, because that's sort of what Bisley does best. It looks like this was drawn really small and then blown up, because all the lines are like a really awkward thickness, especially compared with some of the others. And the colours are just horrible, really muddy colours within these random colour pops, but like not in a way that feels relevant. Like you should have a colour pop mean something, not just be, I don't know, some random jester doll or something. And you know, he had a Batman doll earlier on next to his bed in hospital a couple of times. And so I don't know if it's like now it's a Joker doll because he's in a different... But the colouring is so whack. And it really, really affects the comic. And these all feel so like quickly drawn at a small scale and then just blown up. There's just so little detail, and it's like it feels like this comic was done in a week or two, maybe, for the effort that it looks like it has gone into it. It doesn't look like much time has been put into actually making the thing. I just... See, that's when you have colour pops. When shit's going bad. I guess they're on a ship going somewhere, a jet or something, and then the bad boy forces it to crash. You little shit. We've got the hand-drawn lettering. That's good. That's a much, much better than when he got punched in the face. That, like, random computer font that just says crack. Just online with the panel border. Whereas here, you've got the splut drawn by Bisley. It fits, and the colour fits with the jet of the jet of the jet, whatever. Crashes the jet, and then the colours go from this like muddy brown grey colour to these like hot orange pops as shit's going on, and then a flip with the turquoise where I guess he's inside and it's flipped a bit, and then the hot orange. Those colour pops make sense when you've got these random primary colours added in. They don't feel like they fit at all. There's a few good drawings on these pages. Some pretty cool like atmospheric stuff, which Bisley doesn't do a lot of. He does great like action and bombastic stuff and dynamic poses and crazy anatomy and things. But when it comes to a genuine atmosphere, you know, like his Bible drawings and paintings, great atmosphere in those. You know, he can do great atmosphere. But you don't see it in a lot of his like comic book work, at least. And this isn't, you know, amazing atmosphere, but it's pretty good. It works. It gives you an impression of like the sun setting or rising or whatever, and they're on the precipice, the edge of this cliff. And shit's going down into the void below. That's quite a cool shot. And these undead robot fuckers are coming up on them. That's cool. That's ABC Warrior-ish. That's a good one. That's one of those ones where it's like, yeah, let me draw this cool fucking mummified zombie death robot face. And the fucker leaps off the cliff. Oh my god. I love this. I love the poses. He's got one big arm, one skinny arm, and they're all like weird angles and shit. Oh, the hell with it. The speech bubbles don't do much for it either. I feel like that's one thing lacking in comic books very often, is speech bubbles are often so basic and uniform, and the font sucks as well, that they really should be worked into the art a bit more. Because, I mean, you read it sort of naturally top down, so this Jason No, I automatically read that first and then this. But then with the drawing, it's hard to put them one before the other. But you could make it work. Like put this here, and then like just a I don't know. Yeah, it's difficult, but I'm sure you can make it work. And then he lives his life in the post-apocalypse or something. And there's babes and bearded guys on motorbikes chilling around a campfire. Again, it looks like it was drawn this big and then blown up to size. I just... like, I look through, body count, for instance, which is not an obvious comparison, but a similar, like, close enough sort of comparison you can make. And there's a few panels that I'm like, oof, that's a bit iffy. The colouring's not great here and there, but you can pull out a load of bits that are like, oh, this is cool and this is cool. But in this, it's like there's literally like 5 bits that are kind of cool, like 5 panels that are kind of cool, and the rest is just sort of, oof. Especially the bit with the big-titted woman, because that should be a bit where you turn to that page and it's like, whoa, yeah, but it's just so like, what the fuck is happening? What is going on? It's so aggravating. Also, let me just... Where does it start? Right, so that's the front. Okay, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36. 36 pages. I believe... That's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, 38. It's shorter than part 1 of Death Fist, which literally doesn't matter at all. But Frank Miller, Simon Bisley, together at last. Because I think around that time, this is something people had been like waiting for, like 2 giants of the comic book world coming together to put out one 36-page book. That was this. That's just like, oof. Is that it? Is that all you got? Jesus. I mean, almost one of the best bits is the gallery. This was on the dust jacket of this book, but I took it off because it's fucking whack. And then underneath, well, dust jackets are whack in general. However, this one had the better artwork on it. Because, Frank Miller drawing, cool, but it's sort of whatever. And when you've got the book, the artist of the book is Simon Bisley, it's a little bit weird to have a Frank Miller cover. So this, I guess, is like a wraparound cover. It's all one big painting. Such a cool painting. Like, this is almost Bisley at his best in terms of cover painting. Like, the tone and texture in every aspect of this. The detail. Where he's got this, like, wagon on his tricycle. The gun in there. The little Batman doll has great detail and texture in him. The cat looks fucking cool. This weird doll with dripping, oozing fingers and shit. He's got a cigarette in his mouth, pulling up his goggles. The tone and texture in his hands and arms, the wristwatch, his dungarees, his shirt. Everything. That's so well painted. The lighting and texture on his mum and dad. Really, really cool. All the creases and bumps in their skin. And he does, his Bisley thing of just filling in space for some of the clothes. But they're in the background, so it doesn't really matter. The weird colours and stuff in the background there. This, obviously, much quicker, just, drawn, put a dark wash over it, and then paint in just a few details, just to give you a sort of hint of what's going on. You can see it's basic paint splotches and stuff in the background, some pencil and stuff for a few of the details. But that's like the back cover where it would have some text and stuff, so that's not too important. But that's such a cool painting, regardless of context of this book or whatever. Oh, and the reflection of the fucking undead robot Nazi guy in the mirror. That's cool. It's such a cool painting. Like, if I had a big print of this, I'd hang it on my wall happily. Like, just this page of it. So good. And then when it's of this book, it's just like, oh, well, fuck. It's like I say all the time. I'm so bummed out when I pick up a comic book, like a 20-page, one-a-month comic book off the shelf at the store. It's got a really nice cover, like nicely painted or nicely drawn or whatever, and then the artwork inside is just the blandest fucking comic book artwork you've ever seen. And that has those vibes in this book. These concept sketches are really great. I assume they're like 10th anniversary edition cover sketches. That's cool, I guess. But another thing is, like, they're cool sketches, but these shouldn't necessarily be covers because they don't really, like, he doesn't skateboard and grind handrails while running away from these guys jumping out of a helicopter. He doesn't do that in the book. But that's a really cool drawing. It's got almost Tank Girl vibes. The cat and him squished up together. That's a really, really cool drawing. That's a really cool, like, almost like a movie poster, like a collage of different images. Like, you could imagine that being like photoshopped together of all these different character parts and stuff, and then a chase scene going on in front with the city in the background and stuff. Actually, the idea has struck me this very instant. That could be cool to trace and then paint. Just because it looks cool and it probably wouldn't be too difficult. I might have to do that. Let me get another post-it note. That's a cool one too. I love the cat. Oh, and the cat's name is Adolf, and it does have like a little mustache, and it's wearing an iron cross. I don't know. I know Miller does that a lot. He puts a lot of like Nazi references into his stuff. Like Sin City has a lot of that stuff, and I believe they are usually portrayed as the bad guys. So I don't know how. If I read it again, maybe I'd understand why his cat is called Adolf and has obvious Nazi imagery attached to it. But yeah, what a cool book. I have a few regrets from university. Because when I went to university, I never really wanted to go to university. I just didn't care. I only went to university because I didn't know what else to do. I'd finished college and I was like, I guess I'll fucking go to university. And so I think most of my regrets, which I don't have that many, but I think they mostly centre around that because I wasn't really interested in being there, I didn't get involved in anything at all, really. I was just sort of there. You know, I hung out with some people, I made some friends, and I still talk to some of them to this day, which is kind of cool. I was a little, also, in my 20s, I was just in a weird place. The sort of place that makes me fucking hang around outside train stations for 7 hours. And I was just a little bit of an asshole. I was very sure of myself in some ways, and I shouldn't have been. So yeah, it was a weird time, but I do wish, looking back, that I'd gotten more involved, like maybe joined a club or something. But what I'm getting onto is, I think my biggest regret from university is that I didn't start a club. What did I call it? I wrote it down. I didn't start a club titled or named "Our Posters Are Cooler Than Yours" club. Because this is really funny, I promise. It is even funnier than the smoking or not smoking story. I'd sit outside like the student union shop because they had like couches and stuff there. I'd sit there quite often with my friend Ellie. We'd just hang out, talk shit, draw, eat lunch, snacks, fucking whatever. And right by the couches on the wall, there was a big notice board covered in like notices, as you might imagine, but also posters for like all the different clubs. I can't remember a single fucking one of them, but there was like, you know, Dungeons and Dragons club, there was fucking sports things, events and stuff going on. And even at the time, I thought, hey, it would be funny to do this, but I never did it. But it's my biggest regret that I didn't do it and then just constantly keep doing it. I wanted to make a poster for a club that wasn't really a real club, but it could have become one. And it would be called the Our Posters Are Cooler Than Yours Club. And it would just be the sickest, coolest posters. And I'd paint them, either hand paint them or get them printed huge, and then put them onto the notice board. So if the notice board is like this, and then the average posters are like this size, and there's little flyers and postcards, and a poster for this and a poster for that, all kinds of things. Like a notice board, bunch of shit, all pins and things. And then I come along and I put up a poster here and fucking staple gun it at each corner. And it's the Our Posters Are Cooler Than Yours, and it's just like Vikings and explosions and guns and muscles, gun Viking type stuff. This was before I'd come up with gun Viking, but that sort of thing. And it's the Our Posters Are Cooler Than Yours Club. Meets every Tuesday at the whatever. And then they take it down, obviously, because it's obnoxious. And then, the next week I'd put up another one. And it would be a new poster. And every time it'd just be Our Posters. I was like, fucking cooler than yours. That's our club, is we've just got the best fucking posters. And I might have even gotten other artists, because I was on an illustration course, I might have gotten other artists to help me make the cool posters. I was very sure of myself in terms of like, I'm the best artist in the world. Even though you look at my art from that time, like Zilla, it was around that time I was at university, and my art fucking blew ass. I don't know how I did anything, how I ever thought I was a good artist, especially back then. So in a way, I wouldn't want other people's help with making the posters, because I'd be like, I'm going to make the best posters, obviously. Because I was just a fucking shitty little cunt fuck. I was alright. I had my moments of being kind of cool, but I was also just a shithead. But that would have been a really funny club. Just not even a funny club, just a funny thing to do. And if I put like contact information, like email or something, maybe I'd even get people wanting to join the Our Posters Are Cooler Than You club. But I'm also fairly certain I'd have been told to fucking pack it in, because I'm covering up other people's posters for their actual real life clubs that they are trying to get people to attend. And I'm going, look at my drawing, I drew a big Viking and he's cool, I drew superheroes and they got guns and shit. Like a fucking asshole. just a fucking shithead. And just thinking like, I'm so much better than everyone else, and because of that, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna start putting posters over other people's posters. Just a fucking dick. Just fuck off, Ewan. You're not all that. You're not that cool. You're not remotely cool enough to be doing that shit. To be trying to think you can just get away with doing that kind of shit. Fucking asshole. Still, it's a funny idea though. It would have been funny if we did it. Just for the people who, it seems, what the fuck does this thing's mouth look like? Does it go? I don't know what I'm doing. I really, really don't know what I'm doing. There's like a million different versions of this goddamn dinosaur. It's an iguanodon, apparently. It's somebody's favourite dinosaur, so I'm trying to draw it. There are several people keep asking it, and I do genuinely keep meaning to do it. They want cross-hatching tutorial videos. I have my not every Monday, but my Monday painting class videos, where I show some painting and I talk about how I paint the painting. Sometimes I talk about how I paint it. Sometimes I just say, now I'm using this colour. Now I'm using that colour. I'm sure I could be giving a lot more information, but you learn just by watching. That's how I learned, and so that's how you're going to learn, if you're going to learn from me. Ultimately, I'm just trying to make content for the algorithm. That's what it's about, innit? That's what's important. And so because a lot of people ask, I do genuinely mean to make cross-hatching videos. Not necessarily tutorials, but just like how I do videos of me painting, do videos of me cross-hatching. I don't know. I never get around to it. Also, I feel like I tried to do one. I was recording myself drawing a skull and cross-hatching it, but I just wasn't happy with it. And it's so weird that, like, when I'm trying to do cross-hatching well in a very specific way, in a way that I can sort of describe it in a tutorial kind of sense, I just fuck it up. I don't know what that is. Also, trying to describe cross-hatching is tricky, because it's like you do the lines this way, then you do them this way, and that's a cross-hatch. And then if you do that enough times, you can layer it up, and it makes the colour darker and darker the more layers you... Which I guess is actually, just me saying that, is a fairly simple enough way of describing cross-hatching. But then I've got to talk about, like, contour lines and using straight hatching and this and that, and overlapping colours to make more colours and tones and whatever. I feel like with painting, it's more just like colouring in. So it's just like, yeah, you put this colour and then you put that colour. It's easy. But it feels like there's a bit more to actually describe if I'm trying to talk about cross-hatching. Which might not be the case necessarily, but it's just sort of how it feels. So, I don't know. I do mean to get to... I was thinking, actually, I'm drawing dinosaurs purely because I just felt like drawing dinosaurs. I just wanted to doodle some doodle saws. But that's, you know... Sorry, I looked up. I just stood up to look at the camera to look at this, and it looks really, really cool on camera. I like that. I like it, the shape and shit. And as I looked at the camera on my phone, I saw a notification of one of my favourite artists commenting on some of my shit. So I got a little bit distracted. My bad on that one. What the fuck am I doing now? I just felt like doodling some dino doodles. So that's what I did and am doing. This will be one as well at some point. Just because. And I did think, if I'm going to do a cross-hatching video, I could do, obviously not right now, but when I do get to it, whenever that is, I could do a cross-hatching dinosaur tutorial video. And I can title it like, hey, come cross-hatch with me. Let's hang out and draw some dinosaurs. This is how to... Oh, these 10 easy tips that you need to know to make your cross-hatching better. Make sure you fucking subscribe to my videos. I'm shitting diarrhea everywhere. Do you want to know what I hate about art YouTubers? YouTube artists, fucking whatever, as if I haven't gone on about them enough. I'm not actually gonna, you know. Shall we see what's on the YouTube art docket? Let's go onto YouTube, homepage, and hit refresh. What have we got? Making 45 colours with 5 primary colours. I don't know, 5 primary colours. Making 45 colours with 5 primary colours! Exclamation mark! Making 45 colours with 5 primary colours. Red, blue and yellow, black and white. And they made 45 colours. Of course, literally every colour is made with those colours. You could make infinite colours with those colours. Why 45? 646,000 views on making colours with other colours, which is like secondary school level shit, if that, if not earlier. When you draw the colour wheel and you got to paint all the colours and then mix all the colours and paint those colours, and then you get the opposite colours and the primary, secondary, tertiary, and all complementary and contra. Like the most basics of basics. And it's got over 500,000 views. And then right next to that, Sketchbook Tour number 2, Forest Friends, Visual Story and Letting Go of Perfection. A little bit like meh. But it's just somebody flipping through their sketchbook and they've drawn trees and wolves and they're a little raven in a top hat. Little like frog magician wizard. Oh, it's a cat wizard. Gatto mago. Birds and shit, panda. Really good drawings. 260 views. Fucking like, not that it deserves to get more views, but it's just, that's, I'd rather watch that. I'd rather look at a video of someone just drawing in a sketchbook and filling it with. Actually, I'm going to open that in a new tab so I can watch it after this, because it looks quite cool. Maybe I'll like and subscribe. Painting a car, 1.3 million views. Of course. Oh god, girl lighting up the sky, acrylic painting for beginners. It's so basic. It's like mask off an area and then paint all this background colour in and then stipple in some clouds, and then you paint in the silhouette in the front, and then you take the masking tape off and look, it's like she's got a torch that's lighting up the sky. And it is, acrylic painting for beginners. Sure, learning is good, but it's basic, boring, uninteresting stuff. 13 million views. 13 million views. I just fucking... What if I just search art? See what garbage... I know it's going to come up with horrendous shit. It's like looking at, like the trending page. And there's a bunch of shorts I'm not even going to bother looking at. Artist ruins his art for better 4 million views. That's where someone makes a painting and then puts a big stroke of paint across it, and then on top of that stroke of paint they paint something else. Oh my god. Art Attack Series 8 Episode 3, 1.9 million views. Totally fair enough. Art Attack is fine by me. Oh, Jesus Christ. I know shorts are like the way to go to get views, but some of these art shorts, 28 million views, 93 million views, which is an attractive girl saying, I can't believe I actually did this, drawing Princess Peach in realism. And she draws Princess Peach and it looks realistic. And of course the thumbnail is the attractive girl's face holding a pen, and it gets 93 million views, which is just, I'm not complaining about it, I'm just saying, of course. Of course. Other ones, 123 million views, 36 million views, different art short videos. And they're all just fucking garbage, which I expect it to be that way. I can't be too mad at it, because that's just is how it works. Art of Jamie Hewlett by Ewan. That's my video. 45,000 views. Jesus. I don't think I haven't been tempted to just do more and more like Jamie Hewlett videos, just so I can put gorillas in the thumbnails, just because it will probably get me way more views than my own videos. Because that's what works. If one thing works, you got to just do it again and again and again. And yeah, that's literally my most viewed video of all time, is a half-hour video looking at Jamie Hewlett's artwork, with Noodle from the Gorillaz in the thumbnail. Art of Jamie Hewlett, 45,000 views. Of course. And then I spend time working hard on my own art and other things, and it gets nothing, which, again, I understand. It's just shit that's the way it goes. 3D painting illusion trick, 843,000 views. Tie-dye, 870,000 views. Oh, the multi-pen drawing, I fucking hate that so much. Where you get like a thing that holds like 4 pens at once or more, and then you're like holding a bar that has several different pens attached to it, and then you're like drawing one picture with this pen and another picture with this pen at the same time, which you're not really. You're actually drawing a little bit of this one, then a little bit of that one, and a little bit of this one, and a little bit of that one. But you speed it up, it looks like you're doing it at the same time. I've mastered multi-pen drawing, 7.3 million views, drawing with 4 pens at once, and drawing the Avengers. Just copying photos of the Avengers, nothing remotely interesting. Also, let me just hover over it. Yeah, exactly as I thought. The images in the thumbnail are clearly photoshopped in photos of the Avengers to look like drawings. But then the actual drawings look nothing like that. They're not that good. I mean, it's somewhat impressive considering how he's drawing, but it's just such a gimmick. It's like, who fucking cares? Draw 8,000 drawings at once. What are you left with? A bunch of very, very mediocre drawings. It's just... I had no intention of bitching and complaining about art on YouTube today. That's just how it goes sometimes, isn't it? All the times. I was sort of not relieved, but kind of glad to see a lot of people apparently share my views with regards to me recently bitching and moaning about art on YouTube. I think everyone should just stop watching big creators, because they're all, not that they're all garbage, but often they're garbage, and you should give more time and attention to me. That's all it is. I just want to be more popular than I actually am. Not even me, I just want my artwork to be sort of, have more of a wider regard paid to it, I guess. I want good things to be created. I want good art to be created. Apparently we're not getting that from Bisley and Miller. Oh dear, oh dear. Do you know what I could do? For I was wondering what the fuck that was then. That's the notice board. For the magical Leopleurodon, I could draw the magical Leopleurodon for my ballpoint tutorial video. I could draw a magical Leopleurodon. It's got a big long head and a big sort of arched body. A fin there. And a fin here. Do you know the magical Leopleurodon? Do you know it? From Charlie the Unicorn. Charlie! It's the magical Leopleurodon, Charlie. It's shown us the way. And it's got all like patterns and shit. Does that even show up on the... it kind of does. Yeah, I could spend, maybe 30-45 minutes. What am I looking for? This. I just want to outline it really basically. I could draw in the magical Leopleurodon, and then because that's the Charlie the Unicorn. Right, let's YouTube Charlie the Unicorn. I can only imagine how many millions of views it's got. The original Charlie the Unicorn, 42 million views. 16 years old though, Jesus. Charlie the Unicorn 2, 50 million views. I think that's the one with the magical Leopleurodon, I'm not sure. So maybe if I put like Charlie the Unicorn in the thumbnail and title, cross-hatching tutorial, draw the magical Leopleurodon with me from Charlie the Unicorn. Charlie the Unicorn, magical Leopleurodon. Magical Leopleurodon from Charlie the Unicorn. 400,000 views in 2 days. Oh my god. Could happen.